And of course, Stephen, it's affected multiple industries in this country, particularly the backlog that is now sitting at the ports and all of the goods that have to be exported. Of course, fresh produce is one of those that is about timing, and there is a race against the clock in as far as having to move some goods to different parts of the world. One of those industries is the berries industry. Brent Walsh is the CEO of Berries ZA. Brent, good evening to you. Thanks for your time. How much of it is a race against the clock right now, and how long have some of the goods that involve berries been waiting for exports?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. If we incorporate last week's strike delay together with this week, bearing in mind that the Ubuntu labor is due to only be back at work tomorrow, that's their deadline, we're looking at close on a 2-week delay, which is about 160 containers that need to be shipped as soon as possible. The worst case scenario for those is a 14-day stay in cold storage already. This is obviously a 2-week delay to get onto the ships and get to our destination ports. With a 45-day shelf life in total, that's a significant portion of that shelf life. So it'll be a quality check on departure, it'll be a quality check on arrival, and we can just hope that the cold storage has been as good as possible, and we've got a good few weeks left in those berries.
What are the conversations that you're having, in particular with those customers that are waiting for these goods?
Look, it's been an engagement with Transnet throughout this process. We have engaged with them to plan for this time when the container terminals are reopening. There is significant pressure to clear the backlog as soon as possible. They've committed to prioritizing the perishable fresh produce, which is fantastic news. And then we just pass on that message to our receiving customers to say that we're doing our best with Transnet. We're working around the clock with them. And as soon as we've got some action, we'll be clearing the backlog as soon as possible. It's not going to take 2 days. It's not going to take 5 days. We're looking at a good 10 to 14 day window before the export container schedule is back on track.
Brent, are there any alternatives? And of course, a situation like this where you have so many businesses whose backs are against the wall, it does force one to consider what options exist. Most importantly, what options should exist, especially going into the future.
Look, for us to have all the container terminals, the ports shut down simultaneously is disastrous. Nothing short of disastrous for the fresh produce industry. If we had options around the container terminals being managed by independent contractors and potentially not being impacted at exactly the same time, should there be a labor dispute at any point in time, that would certainly ease a lot of pressure for us to have alternatives when it comes to the export game. So to have all of the ports and all of the container terminals down at the same time is disastrous.
Of course, we have the majority union, Ubuntu, that has accepted the wage offer. They represent just over 53% of the workforce. It's literally just over half of the workforce. As it stands, has there been a significant difference to date with those workers going back to their posts?
We had the fresh produce industry had an engagement with Transnet earlier today. There has been a little bit of movement today. Some containers have been moving. As I mentioned earlier, the Ubuntu labor are scheduled to be back fully in terms of the full force of the Ubuntu labor contingent. They will be back completely from tomorrow. So we will have a much better idea of the capacity that they can move the backlog. We are working together with them to schedule the stacking of those containers to make sure that the highly perishable goods, which are blueberries,
But unfortunately, we've lost Brent Walsh there. He's the CEO of Berries ZA, and as you heard, over 80 containers are currently sitting at the port waiting to reach markets in parts of Europe.